Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Providence. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Bueller. Get a look at our feature match area, and we are underway in round 13 here. Brian Braunduin sitting at 11-1, facing off against Josh McClean, also at 11-1.
Now, the first part of these deck names looks like a mirror. Obzon versus Obzon.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, if you look at the creature sets that these guys are playing, it's 20 creatures in the one deck, 21 in the Megamorph deck. They only overlap at Siege Rhino.
Really?
Everything else is different.
Wow.
Warden, Fleecemane, Death Dealer, Anafenza, Surok playing against Deathmiss Raptor, Den Protector, Satyr, Wayfinder, and Courser.
Wow.
With a random Tassiger thrown in.
Insane.
Yeah, they only overlap at
The
Siege
card
Rhino.
pool is so deep for this three-color combo.
No,
you
it's
can
true.
make two completely different decks. Now, there's kind of prevailing wisdom, Randy, that says that the slightly slower deck usually has an advantage
True story.
in a matchup. Is that going to be the case here?
I think
Especially
so.
if you don't look at the board state right now, which
Well,
is BBD going Fleecemane into Anafenza. Pretty nice start.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
but in general?
In general, you want to be slightly slower than your opponent. I think that's exactly correct. Now, the way this draw has played out, though, BBD is on the play with, a 3-3 and a 4-4. He's a lot faster. And being a lot faster, you win.
Yes.
Right? Beatdown beats control, historically.
Now, this is going to be a bit of a setback here as Josh is going to use an Obzon Charm to take care of Anafenza. So instead of taking 8 this turn, he takes 3. Wow, and BBD just passes the turn back here, no play. Thoughtseize in hand for McClean. He's going to fire that off. All right, let's see what BBD is working with here. Looks like Dromoka's Command, Heroes, Downfall, Ultimate Price. So mainly reactive spells here.
It's true.
I think he's hoping that Josh McClean commits something killable to the board and he just takes it out. Uses up his mana and a card that way, and then can untap, play a land, and have Fleecemane Lion Monstrous active.
The spell sets for these decks are pretty similar. Thoughtseize, Ultimate Price, Heroes, Downfall, Obzon Charm. The big difference being those Dromoka's commands in BBD's deck, whereas Josh has a couple of Sweepers and a couple of Elspeths.
Okay, well, you know what? An Obzon Charm's going to take care of the Fleecemane before BBD does get that 5th land online and gets that monstrous ability up. Josh McClean doing a good job of controlling the board here.
Yep.
And he has got Brian Braunduin down to no threats on board or in hand.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, like we said, on the play with a 3-3 and a 4-4, but if Josh has the removal to blunt that initial attack, gets the game into the mid-game right where he wants it to be.
So let's see if Brian can find a threat of some sort off the top. Hey,
How about a Siege Rhino?
where you been all my life? Siege Rhino has appeared, and I think Josh can only shrug at that. He's got a couple of Deathmiss Raptors in hand, which do a good enough job of taking care of Rhino, but Josh isn't
Yeah,
gonna
he's seen how
fuss
much
around with
removal is
that.
in Brian's hand.
Yes.
Not interested in trying to block.
No, but the third copy of Obzon Charm and another Siege
Jeez.
Rhino off the top for BBD. Wow, this draw from Brian is insane.
Sometimes they draw running Siege Rhinos.
Yeah, and like you said, the Deathmiss Raptor's not getting the job done here because Brian can just cast Ultimate Price on one of them, and whichever one blocks, get in for lethal here. Wow. Josh looked like he was in great shape. It turns out back-to-back Runner Siege Rhino is got him down to 4 life with a lethal threat out.
Raptor, Den Protector, Raptor, and what's the 4th card?
Unclear.
And he's on 5 mana, right? So he can't play 2.
He's going to play a face-up Den Protector, as well as a face-down morph. Pretty easy here for Brian because he's getting value either way.
Yeah.
And this is a forced double block here.
Yeah, I mean, Josh has to make sure he doesn't get trampled over for lethal.
That's right. Any, a Hero's Downfall or something from BBD would end it if he didn't double block.
What was the other removal spell we saw when I thought Thoughtseize?
Price.
And
I think it was actually a Hero's Downfall. Can he cast both right now? No, he can't. He's got 2 black mana sources right now. If he could, he would just win, right? He just downfalls the morph,
he's
ultimate
got
prices.
3 black, right? Swamp, Citadel, and Waste.
Where's the swamp?
Is that a forest in between the Citadel
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
Waste?
that's a forest, yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. All right, but you know what? BBD's like, sure.
Right.
This isn't sustainable for McClean anyway, and Brian gets to still keep those removal spells in his hand here, still has a lethal threat, and it's hard to imagine. I mean, Josh is going to have to draw a downfall or something of his own. He's already used 3 Abzan Charms this game, so he's only got either 0 or 1 of those left in his list. Looks like he's got 1 more.
Yeah, the fact that he had to play the Raptor face down was kind of awkward that last turn.
Yeah, but he had to.
Green mana is a little painful for Josh McClean right now. All Llanowar Wastes.
He's got a temple. Temple of Milady up there.
Sure, that was the one he used on Den Protector.
Indeed. Josh is just trying to see if he can survive at all.
Right. Right. His plays are, how do I not die to trample damage next turn?
Start by playing a morph and passing. And that's going to draw the Hero's Downfall from Brian Bronduin. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's premature handshake, but that will be the game. So BBD with a blazing start, a little bit of a lull in the middle, and then a blazing finish finishes off Josh McClean to take game 1. And that's why you put Siege Rhino in the deck, right? I mean,
Josh should put some in his deck? Is that what you're saying?
Indeed. All right, let's take a look at what Patrick Dickman's up to with his Ojutai Jeskai list. He's playing against Green-Red Devotion from Brett Weed. A deck certainly capable of going over the top, but it looks like Patrick has taken a very aggressive role here. Those 2 Stratus Dancers, neither of them has a counter on it. He's just played them out as 2-1 flyers and is just beating down with them. And it looks like he's doing a good job, too. Brett Weed's at 8. Dickman has mana for a Ojutai's command, which could take care of the card he really doesn't want to see, which is a Dragonlord of Tarka here. It would wipe his whole board. But he can counter it if that is the plan, and it's not. It's going to be a Genesis Hydra.
What was the Hydra for? In other words, that is, can he get the Hornet Queen?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks
yes,
like it's 7.
enough.
Yep, just enough.
Hornet Queen seems like a problem for the guy who's going into Stratus Dancer beatdown mode.
Was it enough? How much does Nykthos make here? 4, right? It was the 2 pips from the Whisperwood and then 1 from each of the mana creatures. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from the elf. Where's the other mana from?
Did he flip the Rattleclaw this turn?
Maybe. Maybe that was it.
Oh, we got here right when he was casting it.
Yeah, he must have flipped the Rattleclaw this turn. In the meantime, he does have a Hornet Queen, and he does have attacks here as well. He's going to attack with his Satyr and with the Mystic. And here's a dig through time on end step for Patrick Dickman. Now, Dickman still has the 2 Stratus Dancer in the air. They're going to run into a bunch of Hornets, though. It was such a huge hit to hit Hornet Queen there, because Dickman could have been attack, stoke you away from a victory here. But now that plan is off the table. He's going to need multiple Stoke the Flames. Only 2. Don't think he'll be facing lethal next turn, especially given that he has the The Grandmaster on the ground to block the Genesis Hydra. This is good news for Brett Weed, as Patrick Dickman's really thinking about what he wants to take with his dig through time. I mean, if it was something that would give him a direct route to victory, he would have already done it. Instead, there's a lot of hand double checking and hesitation, which is certainly what you want to see if you're Brett. All right, but Patrick does decide on 2 of the cards here.
Whisperwood Manifest adds itself to Brett Weed's board.
Patrick ships the turn back. I saw that he had a lightning strike in his hand. He's not going to be facing lethal here. Is his life total 23? Was he already up that high?
Plausible.
Yeah, he took 4 last turn, but it could have been. Brett almost cast Xenagos, and he went back in the tank. But he is going to decide to go ahead and deploy the Planeswalker here. Can make a ton of mana. I don't think he has much to spend it on, so he's just going to make a Satyr instead. Yeah, his hand is just land and another Rattleclaw Mystic. He knows he can't kill him in one shot, so he's going to send over both Satyrs to manifest. He's going to protect his elemental and keep all of his flying Death Touchers back. Whoop! All but one. And it looks like Dickman is going to go into life total conservation mode here. And that would signal to me that he's trying to burn him out.
Yeah, that's by far the easiest way for Patrick to win this game. Probably the only way Patrick's going to win this game.
Yeah, slogging through a Hornet Queen when you have to kill every single one of them with a spell is a little bit rough, to say the least. All right, Valorous Stance. Okay, that's going to do some work here. He gets 2 Valorous Stances off, actually, and those are both going to hit the 2 biggest threats on the other side of the table.
Sure.
And he's going to block the Manifest with one of his Stratus Dancers.
Not interested in trading for the Mystic.
You know, it looks like he was thinking about it before, but he's decided against it. Taking 7. Dickman's down to 15. Remember, the Soulfire Grandmaster is going to give his burn spells lifelink, which could buy him maybe even a whole nother turn, depending on what he finds. Brett's not going to play the Rattleclaw Mystic. I think he just run it out there. Dickman has to pass the turn back.
One more land, and that Lightning Strike can start to think about getting buyback.
Oh, now that's interesting. Yeah, I would suspect we're going to see Brett Weed really put the pedal to the metal here and just start attacking with basically anything that doesn't have flying, and maybe even one of those. Yeah, in they come. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. And Dickman's going to trade off a Stratus Dancer for the Rattleclaw Mystic. Now, Brett still has that other Rattleclaw Mystic in his hand. He's been reluctant to deploy it. I suppose he fears a sweeper from Dickman. And there's Ojutai's command that is going to counterspell the Courser of Crufix. And draw a card for Dickman. So ye old dismiss resolves for Patrick here. Takes some damage and gets the turn back to him. Still at 8. He's drawn a Dragon Lord Ojutai and has a land. All right, well, let's jump back over to our main match here. This one looks like it's going to close out fairly quickly, but no, let's jump over to the main match. Whoa! All right, here in the early stages of game 2. It looks like we've got a fairly well built out board here for these two guys. So BBD's just got 2 threats down. It looks like a monstrous Fleece Main Lion and a Rakshasa Death Dealer for him, but Josh has Elspeth, which is pretty great against Brian's board state here. I do see an end hostilities in the graveyard as well for Josh McClean. I'm assuming that's what cleaned up the mess you see in the graveyard there for BBD. And Josh is down a game, but he's at 16 life with Elspeth on the battlefield versus 2 non-evasive threats. Things look okay for Josh here. If you get a look at BBD's hand, let's see what he's working with. On Offense of the Foremost. That's it. Here's Den Protector. Yeah, Josh looks like he's in the driver's seat here, Randy.
We said that last game. And then running Siege Rhinos happened.
Yeah. I'm more willing to stick to it this time. I think even 2 Siege Rhinos in a row doesn't mean that BBD wins this game. It would put him in a fine spot, of course, but I like where Josh is positioned here. This looks like a might be able to clean this one up pretty quickly, actually. He's got Elspeth in ultimate mode. And with Brian Braun doing no real way to get through any damage to Elspeth, outside of something like a Hero's Downfall, she's going to be able to go ultimate or even just keep making tokens, depending on how Josh wants to proceed. What does BBD? He has an ultimate price here or something? Oh, it's a Dromica's command. No? He gets to fight with his Fleece Main Lion, killing the Den Protector, and I'm assuming he's going to make him sacrifice the Courser of Crufix here as well. Still, the soldiers are real.
Attention players, the Sunday sealed. Pairings have been posted on the shoulder banner near the orange gathering place. Players in the
I don't think BBD's deck plays Bile Blight. Otherwise, that would be a super sick out here.
He's drowning in the sideboard.
Does he?
2 drowns in the sideboard. I don't know if you bring that in here.
I think you would.
No, I don't think you do.
Looks like he's attacking Josh here. Is this a Hero's Downfall off the top for BBD? Hey, that's not bad.
Wow.
Right in time to kill Elspeth. Now, Josh has another Elspeth in hand. Still, that was probably the game if the turn got passed. And once he attacks with all 3 of those, I think BBD sees the writing on the wall here as well, that there's another Elspeth incoming with replacement soldiers to boot. And he passes the turn back. So Brian finds himself in a similar situation to the one he's been in for the last 3 or 4 turns. Yeah, there's a Siege Rhino. But McClean's still at 14. draw step here for McClean. He's going to start by digging for a land here, which he actually finds with his wayfinder. He finds a windswept heath.
Spills a death mist too.
Oh, he's got a death mist in his hand as well. And he's going to use Abzan Charm to kill the biggest threat, which is a siege rhino. Attack with his soldiers, replace them. And you can see how this race goes. And this is going to be face up. No, it's going to be a face down Death Mist Raptor, which makes a lot of sense considering there's another one in the yard for him. And his opponent is top decking. You know, if BBD finds another Hero's Downfall, he can't really afford to fire it off on the morph anyway. And all he can really do is just keep chipping away here. But Josh is content to just lose 2 soldiers a turn to BBD's attack step and keep grinding out 1 extra per. There's a Dramaka's command. It looks like he's going to be able to take down the morph here.
Sure.
Yeah, that was the one card that would do it. Josh is top decking, but he's also crunching in there for 6 damage.
Yeah, Elspeth finishes this off next turn.
Yeah, pretty handily. And he just says,
On to game
was it a
3.
Den Protector? No, it was another Death Mist Raptor, but we're going to get a game 3 here, so things going much more according to plan for Josh, though. Brian looked like he had a reasonable draw there, and we saw Wingmate Rock in the graveyard and Onofenza. I think the end hostilities really did some work for Josh McClean out of the sideboard there.
Who won the back table game? I see them shuffling and presenting.
Yeah. Don't see an update yet in my updater, but we can ask him.
Judge A.J. Kerrigan. Judge A.J. Kerrigan to the scorekeeper station, please. A.J. Kerrigan to the scorekeeper station.
Gotta wonder if Patrick was able to pull that one out. It looked like he was way behind, but had a chance with those burn spells.
Yeah, that's my theory. That's why I'm curious.
Rashad is asking our spotter Matt Mendoza, who's right behind BBD there. Yeah, it looks like Brett won the game there, so he was able to take that advantageous position and find the victory with it as well.
So there's 6 players on 11-1 right now, including
and we're
these
looking
2 guys.
at these 2 right
We're
here.
looking at 2 of them. The others are Sky Mason, Kevin Sauls, Neil Sachs, and Oliver Tiu.
Sky Mason, you know, he's a judge.
Saw the judge sleeves.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen him at a few events, you know, wearing the judge uniform, but it looks like he shed that aside this weekend and is battling. You gotta love that.
Get 1 guy on 31 points in Pedro Carvalho. And then the 30-pointers, which are the 10-2s, run from 8th place all the way down to 30th. A couple of 28s. I mean, I have it at 33 players in contention with 3 rounds to go. That sounds about right.
Okay. They're underway
Yeah,
in game
there's
2.
no way anybody's sneaking into X3.
Okay,
that's
off the table. At this
That
point.
is not happening. That's kind of what I was trying to do the count to confirm.
Yeah.
How many people can draw will be the interesting question in the last round. Like, can you draw to get in at X2-1, or do you have to play for it and try to get to 13-2?
We'll be keeping an eye on that as we wind things down. Now, this is game 2 of Patrick Dickman versus Brett Weed. Brett able to hit a Hornet Queen off of his Genesis Hydra in the first game and really stabilize what looked like an aggressive start for Patrick Dickman, who has got a decent start here, too, with the Goblin Rabble Master ready to start populating the board with scary threats. This one's going to get blocked by a Caryatid, but next turn he can start fighting. Two Caryatids. Let's see if this Rabble Master makes it to combat. It does. All right, well, he's going to get in there for 4 damage here. He gets to follow up as well. Yeah, sort of. He's going to play Mystic Monastery. Well, it looks like Patrick is content to just get out one threat and kind of sit behind it here. You know, he can have any number of counter spells or ways to disrupt. Well, here's a Polukranos. That's one that Patrick will want to deal with if he can, and he doesn't have an answer for it. 5/5 Polukranos is just huge. Even with Stoke the Flames in hand for Dickman, he can't do anything about Polukranos. He can play Valorous Stance on it, though.
How about
or
Roast?
Roast it. Whoa.
Roast is a big game.
That is huge. An attack with the team here, get a trigger here. So he takes 6 damage and drops to 10. I like the game plan here from Dickman sitting behind this Rabble Master. As long as he has answers for what Brett's doing, it's going to win him the game.
Yeah, red-based removal deck versus the giant green fatties, though. It's you really need the roasts.
Indeed. I'm thinking counter spells of some sort here for Dickman is going to be a key.
Well, does Whisperwood resolve?
Maybe Disdainful Strokes. Does he have those out of the board, Dickman? Well, he answered the question for us here, Randy. We were grabbing for the deck list, but he's just going to show us one here and counter a Whisperwood Elemental. And this clock is getting scary quite quickly here. Wow, and there's a Manus Rider, too. That makes this a lethal attack, so now Brett actually has to chump block the Rabble Master here as well. Oh,
Still takes 6.
and he's got a plummet.
Crazy.
Yeah, it works here. Plummet's nice. Plummet takes down the Manus Riders, and when the door gets opened up, can take down an Ojutai as well. But in the meantime, still with this Rabble Master just hammering away on Brett Weed's life total, he cannot get a big threat to stick. Only permanents he's been able to keep are these 2 Caryatids. Now here's a big one. This is going to be a Genesis Hydra for 5. So let's get a trigger. All right, he can get a Polukranos. So that's going to happen. What about the Hydra itself? Brett has to be pretty concerned about his life total from a burn spell perspective here as well. But
even just the swarm of goblins.
It just doesn't seem like there's much he can do about it. Yeah.
I mean, Rabble Master is a must block, so it's going to trade for one of those 5/5s.
Yeah, so he blocks with the Hydra.
3 goblins will get through, 4 goblins will get through.
I think just, 4 of them. Putting him down to 3, making him dead to any burn spell, basically. Yeah. And he's just going to show him the Stoke the Flame. So
that'll do. On to game 3.
Yeah. Wow. That's impressive. Get ahead, stay ahead. I mean, Dickman made 1 threat on turn 3 and rode it for the next 4 turns in a row. He did eventually make a Manus Rider too, but still. All right, looks like Game 3 is just about underway here between Josh McClean and Brian Bronduin. Yep, they've just started, so we'll see if BBD can get off to a great start here and really start pressuring Josh McClean in the early stages of Game 3 while he's on the play. Stage 1 complete. He's got a Fleecemane Lion. Josh McClean draws a Thoughtseize for the turn. He's actually got another copy of it in his hand as well. And he sees Wingmate Rock Elspeth Ultimate Price.
And only 3 mana.
3 mana.
This is a mulligan draw. It's 7 cards on turn 2, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep.
Hard to know quite how to play this without knowing Josh's exact hand. I mean, the Ultimate Price is obviously the only card Brian can cast anytime soon. But the Elspeth and the Wingmate Rock are both very powerful cards if the game goes there that long.
Yeah. Josh's deck seems to pivot into even more controlling role post-board, meaning that it's more likely that those big spells will come online at some point. So he's going to take Elspeth away and play a forest and pass the turn back. which means that BBD does get to hit in with the Fleece main line here, which is pretty nice for him. Sends up Citadel, hits the battlefield, and he passes a turn back. So Josh has another Thoughtseize if he wants, but he could also deploy a threat like a Deathmiss Raptor.
Huh.
He's going to Thoughtseize to take away the Wingmate Rock here. Okay, and a Satyr Wayfinder to keep things moving forward as well. Oof.
Just in time.
Barely. BBD's actually considering if he wants to play Ultimate Price on the Wayfinder to get in for extra damage, it looks like. Yeah, he's doing it. Get that thing out of here.
Sure.
That's respect. So Josh is going to fall down to 10 here. No play for BBD. And there's a hero's downfall. Does he have an untapped Black Source? If not, he can just use a Obzon Charm on it. But he's going to need to do that now. Or at least on upkeep. Yeah, here's upkeep. Obzon Charm. Can't let BBD find that land and get him. So Windswept Heath still on upkeep is going to get cracked here for Brian. Sees the Siege Rhino on the bottom of his library. That's not where he wants it. No threat for Brian Braunduin, just passes a turn back. And there's the Siege Dad right now for Josh McClean. And things have really gone well for Josh. It looks like mulligan from Brian plus 2 Thoughtseizes has really stripped his hand of any big late game plays, and he hasn't been able to keep enough pressure after the Fleece Main Lion died. Josh is at 13. Yeah, he's going to get rid of the Siege Rhino and do a couple more damage, dropping him back down to 11, but still no forward momentum here for Brian Braunduin. And here is a Courser of Crewfix, which is going to hit a land, and it's going to allow him to cast a Deathmiss Raptor as well. So firing on all cylinders now for McClean. Looks like he is firmly in the driver's seat here, and it's just a land off the top for BBD. Another land on top now for Josh. So he's just churning through his library here. And Elspeth on top. Wow, this is just a beating here. Face down Deathmiss Raptor now for Josh. BBD draws his card for the turn, and he's found another self-inflicted wound. That's going to take care of a Deathmiss Raptor, but only for a minute. Josh has the face down Raptor that can just get it back, and more heat on top of the library here with an Obzon Charm to fuel his draw or maybe get rid of a big blocker. And Josh McClean looks like he is going to be able to win this match here, barring something ridiculous from Brian Braunduin. Yeah, there's 3 more soldiers in a passing of the turn. 1 draw step left for BBD, and that's going to do it. Josh McClean wins 2 games to 1 over Brian Braunduin, though Brian is still live for top 8 here, Randy.
Yep.
He's sitting at X and 2 now. Doesn't have a loss to give, though.
Correct. Still controls his own destiny.
So he's got 2 rounds to play, and he needs to pick up a win and maybe a draw.
Maybe win-win.
Maybe win-win.
I'm not sure there's a lot of draws that are going to get to happen.
Okay.
Although he'll be the one, having been undefeated overnight, he may have the breakers where he actually can draw.
Okay. So we get an exciting Game 3 conclusion of our backup match here as well. Patrick Dickman, who him and his Goblin Rabble Master got ahead and stayed ahead of Brett Weed in Game 2. In Game 1, Brett, though, Anger of the Gods to take down 2 mana sources, as it turns out, for Patrick Dickman here on turn 3.
Exiled.
Yeah, those go bye-bye. Wow, that was nice. Yeah, but Brett was able to hit a Hornet Queen off of his Genesis Hydra in Game 1 to stabilize what looked like a board that he was behind on for most of the game. And he found victory after that. So, curious to see how this Game 3 plays out. Dickman's playing the Ojutai Jeskai deck that he actually pushed on a lot of the players from the Roanoke area, Brad Nelson included.
No proactive plays yet from Patrick.
Nothing. His deck can certainly change roles. He's going to take a couple of damage here from the Courser. Yeah, he is. Patrick just hasn't really done a ton. I mean, the Anger of the Gods was nice, but not a lot of action after that. There's a Goblin Rabblemaster, though, and a Goblin Friend, which is going to get in there for 1. All right, well, the pressure's here now, and Patrick also has 2 mana available. Playing carefully here. We saw Disdainful Stroke game 2. Brett's got, I believe, a Whisperwood Elemental as well. He does. You got to figure like that's not going to resolve here, but if it does, it's going to put him in a great spot. It's not. All right, so we're going to see a Disdainful Stroke here from Patrick Dickman on the Whisperwood Elemental. And this is where this game's going to get interesting because Brett's out of action after that. Got a Plummet on top of his library, which isn't doing anything. And it doesn't look like he has any way to not draw the Plummet. So this is the turn where Dickman can really come up with some big action if he can, for example, get rid of the Courser prefix. So let's see what he finds here. He's got 4 cards in hand before the draw step. Finds an island, though. No, he's just going to go ahead and attack with everything. So he is actually offering the trade Rabblemaster for Courser. See, Dickman looks a little anxious there. All right, well, Brett's going to take him up on the offer, and he might even just block one of these goblins as well. I think he figures he's got enough mana for whatever he could need here. Though he is 1 mana short from playing a Tarka if he were to draw that in a couple of turns. All right, well, that worked out. The Rabblemaster does die. And here's Dragonlord Ojutai, but that Plummet in hand is going to keep Ojutai at bay. Yeah, Brett's just going to pass a turn back. Dickman's going to try to set up a way that he can get in an attack with Dragonlord Ojutai and not trade it for the Plummet. Or he's just going to overload the Plummet by creating too many threats here. So he's going to be like, look, I'm attacking for 5. You can Plummet away, but then I get to attack with my Dragonlord Ojutai next turn.
Yeah, he's choosing not to attack with the Ojutai. Wants to hold on to the Hexproof.
And it looks like Brett Weed says, I just don't think I can start taking hits from Ojutai, so I'm going to take the hit from the Rider, though. Sure, Patrick's okay with that. And a Forest off the top for Brett. You can see sometimes this deck does run out of gas. If it hits something big, it's usually really big. It's a Dragonlord, a Tarkar, you know, a Genesis Hydra or something along those lines. That can really swing a game, but in the meantime, there's a lot of elves and caryatids and forests floating around in the deck here for Brett Weed, and he finds, is that another Plummet?
That's what I thought I saw.
Okay, well,
doesn't have to feel bad about killing Mana Strider now.
It's kind of interesting now, yeah, because he gets to use it, and Patrick will probably think that the way is cleared.
Yeah,
you know, I got the Plummet out of his hand style. It just might not matter at all at this point, though. Wow, Rabblemaster as well. He's going to attack for 7 here. We're going to see the Mana Strider fall to the ground. This makes perfect sense from Dickman's perspective. It's like, yeah, he's got to fire off the Plummet at some point. He can't just keep taking hits. Though it is interesting from Brett Weed's perspective because, you want to make that decision as early as you can. Finds not much here.
Rattleclaw can trade with Rabblemaster.
Good point. Good
It's
point.
not nothing.
That is a good point. Is it too late? No, probably not. He can take care of Dragonlord Ojutai, assuming that Dickman can't interact with the Plummet. Valor Stance, something like that, or even a
Stratus
Dancer. Jeez,
Second
another
Rabblemaster.
Rabblemaster. Wow.
Think Brett can survive this turn at 2?
Whoop. One Rabble has to stay back. Yeah, but he's going to attack with everything else. Get a block in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is what he would take after the Plummet, and assuming that the Plummet actually happens, which it does. Okay. Trade those off. Dragonlord Atarka, not enough here. 2, 4, 5 leaves Dickman with 3 creatures, attacks with all 3. One of them gets blocked, and he dies anyway. I mean, you got to figure that's his best top deck, and it just doesn't even do it here. All right, he's going to play a land, and that's going to do it. A hearty handshake between these two means that Patrick Dickman's still alive.
Oh, yeah. 11 and 2.
For top 8 at 11 and 2.
It'd be a big top 8 for Patrick. He's still chasing gold.
Yes.
So, and he needs a top 8. He's got basically one 1-point Grand Prix result. He's on 28. So, I mean, even just the 2 points you would get for an X3, the 3 points he would get for losing in the quarters wouldn't even necessarily lock things up. But he does have the ability with a deep run in a top 8 here to lock up gold, which is really his goal. Yeah, he needs plus 4 points. So he needs a semi-final
Now that's including his...
I'm giving him
Pro Tour
credit
Origins.
for 3 points
Okay,
in
yeah.
Vancouver.
Yeah, I was
If
actually...
he gets to 32, then he's guaranteed to get to 35 in Origins, even if he scrubs out.
All right. Yeah, I actually talked to him about this yesterday, and yeah, it's he's feeling the pressure.
It's weighing on him?
Oh, yes.
I would think so.
Yeah, getting to gold. We
He's
talk
gold
about
now,
the difference
right?
between...
Based on last year?
I think he actually made platinum. Is that wrong?
I don't think he got to
Yeah,
platinum.
we should look. But it is interesting, the difference.
It
We
might
talk
have.
a lot about the difference between gold and platinum, which is a big jump. But the difference between silver and gold is even bigger. One of them means you get to go play at the Pro Tours. The other one means you're getting paid well to do it. All right, well, this is our turbo match here. Scott Metcalf versus Matt Nass on the right-hand side. Looks like Matt is on this green-based ramp deck here with red as well.
Yeah, Scott is Abzan aggro.
Okay.
Warden, Death Dealer, Fleece Mane, and Offenza. Looks very similar to BBD's deck, although not card for card identical.
Matt Nass finds a Xenagos the Reveler
Yeah, he's Green Red Devotion.
with his Genesis Hydra, so doing a good job of working towards stabilizing here. Wow. And there's a Hornet Queen after a pretty bad sequence there for Nass. He lost his Planeswalker there and even the big Genesis Hydra, but this does a good job of replacing the team and really kind of setting it up. So Scott's going to attack with his Fleece Mane. He has Monstrous available. Matt can force the issue by blocking with one of the insects,
This makes sense.
which basically just makes Scott go Monstrous here. Though it does look like Matt is hesitant to do so. He does end up doing it.
Doesn't go monstrous. Lets the lion go
He
so he
had
can
other
play a
plans.
pair of Wingmate Rocks.
Now, what do those really do here, though? I mean, it's never bad.
Oh, jeez.
Did
the
he just play
second
back-to-back
Hornet
Hornet Queens?
Queen.
Yeah.
That would be both the Hornet Queens.
Wow. I just, the Wingmate Rocks just don't line up against Hornet Queen well at all. I mean, the second one is nice, but even just one, it wasn't looking like those Wingmate Rocks were really going to be able to get a whole lot of work done. Yeah, like that. It's just not great. Even though he has a follow-up, he just can't churn through even one Hornet Queen worth of insects. Two of them, forget about it. And Nass deciding what he can get away with attacking with and what he can't.
Decides to only hold 1 B on defense.
Yeah.
No, 2. The token, the ad card's a Hornet, right?
You know, I don't think it is. I think it might be a Satyr. Though I may be wrong about that as well. It's tough just because normally, so, you know, this is in the feature match area, but it's not under the camera match. It's behind that. And so we have our graphics person who's usually right on top of it for the camera matches, but it's actually behind him. So he can't get in there and switch those tokens.
He can't go back in time and clean it up for us.
No.
It's too bad, really.
Yeah, we're working on that. Yeah, well.
Hornets got it done. Back-to-back Hornet Queen against Abzan Aggro.
Forget it.
You're winning that game.
Yeah, you're winning that game. Especially when your opponent just let his Fleecemane Lion die to get a rated Wingmate Rock.
These guys are X2? Yeah, these guys are X2. So 10-2 coming in. Planning to win out and make top 8. 3 rounds to go. Yeah, there's a lot of 10-2s left. 10-2 still go down to 30th with 3 rounds to go. So don't think there'll be a lot of draws in the last round.
That's good for us.
Yeah, we'll get to watch some winning ins amongst the 12-2s, I think is how this plays out.
I like that.
Players to watch, storylines all coming together too. Dickman still in it.
Yeah.
Hain trying to expand his league on Pascal Maynard.
Maybe make it nearly insurmountable. Or insurmountable enough.
Sure.
You know, to discourage Pascal from chasing him around the world for these pro points.
They're running out of time too. I mean, there's not that many Grand Prix left before the Pro Tour.
No.
What are there, 2 domestic? Montreal and
Dallas. Mm-hmm. There's one in Singapore, one in Buenos Aires.
But those are on the same weekend, so you can't do both.
Correct. You cannot do both.
So the most is you can play 3 after this weekend?
I think so.
Sounds right. Scott curving out the way Abzan Aggro wants to. Fleecemane into Anafenza.
Yeah, not a bad curve out for Nass here either. Though that just got a little bit worse there with the Pelucranos dying to ultimate price. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. Whoop.
I mean, this is what the Devotion deck does, right? Just keep spitting out fatties.
And that's the idea. It looks like Nass isn't going to be able to do anything super crazy this turn.
Another Pelucranos
maybe another
can get out if he
Pelucranos?
has one.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a Pelucranos, though. This could be Hydra for...
Oh, it's
Hornet
Nest.
Nest.
Actually, I was wrong. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Ugh, but it dies immediately. And the big hitters keep coming in. Inoffensive the foremost and Fleecemane Lion. Crunching in there for tons of damage. 9. Enough, in fact, to prompt Matt Nass to chump block with one of his Sylvan Caryatids here. Okay. More for Nass, then he passes a turn back, block, and wow, hitting on all cylinders here. Now we're going to need to see that Hornet Queen end soon.
Hornet Queen or no? It's basically just Hornet Queen that stabilizes.
Yeah, because I don't think,
Pelucranos is not good enough.
Atarka does not kill 2 things here.
Atarka would help.
Atarka helps.
Atarka kills 1 and it can block the other.
Yes. I mean, I'm assuming Nass's life total's low here.
Oh, jeez, Elspeth.
And this
Elspeth
is
kills Atarka with the minus. The 2 Wingmate Rocks are just like, haha, we're 3-4. Attack you for 6 in the air.
Wow.
Dead.
What a beating from Scott Metcalf that game. That was nasty.
Yeah, both of these games have shown one deck doing about the best it can do in this matchup.
Yep, totally. Double Hornet Queen.
Double Hornet Queen from Matt Nass, and then just everything from Scott.
Yeah, I mean, Scott had a great draw there.
He had the curve, he had the removal, he had the wingmate, he had the Elspeth.
Yeah, I mean, Matt went Pelucranos into Hornet Nest, which both looked quite fine on
Right,
the
into
board
Atarka.
state. Yeah, and into Atarka.
Yeah, he was turn 3
none of it
Pelucranos, turn
mattered.
4 Hornet Nest, turn 5 Atarka? Or may it have been turn 6?
One of the
Still.
other. Yeah.
Not good enough.
Yeah, that was a great draw from Scott. Scott's aggressive here with his ultimate price. He's going to take down the Rattleclaw Mystic. He's going to leave back Courser of Crewfix the next turn now for Nass. And Unoffensive the Foremost is the first big play here for Metcalf. Man, there's that Hornet Nest again. So that will hold back on offensive for as long as Scott doesn't have a removal spell for it. Hornet Nest does good work here. It didn't look great last time because it got immediately killed, but you know, when you don't have as much pressure going, it's quite nice. Here's Thoughtseize now for Metcalf. It's going to take away a second copy of Courser of Crewfix.
Anafenza fights successfully the Courser, but not attacking through Hornet Nest.
Nope.
Scott needs a removal spell,
There
and
it
there's
is.
ultimate price.
Now
Now,
that this-
Anafenza is big enough to trade with Pelucranos.
Trade with Pelucranos, though. You got to figure that it's not that bad. I mean, Matt could wait one turn, but it gets really
Yeah,
risky.
he takes the trade.
Can't blame him for that. And he's got a Morph and a Caryatid, so if that's a Den Protector.
Here's the Wingmate rocks again.
And it looks like that Morph is still staying face down here.
Could be Rattleclaw.
Yeah, it must be.
Elspeth.
Yes, Elspeth has also hit the battlefield here. There's Wingmate rocks flying in the air. One of them even has a counter on it. Everybody's attacking. The other one has a counter on it too, and Matt Nass's life total should be falling precipitously here. And he's got to find an answer to these Wingmate rocks, and quickly. There was something there. I think it may be an Obzon Charm or something to get in the last points of damage. And Scott Metcalf is going to win this one. 2-1 over Matt Nass.
I'm
So-
not aggro, still getting the job done.
Yeah, that was a good old-fashioned slugfest there.